there discussing some of the ceremonies and events happening today on this Memorial Day. We're also keeping an eye on this pair that just popped up. This is the Memorial Day parade that's set to begin momentarily in Washington, D.C. You can see all of the people lining the street there. I believe it's Constitutional Avenue there behind you. And we'll try to check in with some of the hosts, some of the festivities on this day today, and all that red, white, and blue bunting along the side of the street with music as well. And plenty of music here locally as we have a series of celebrations. We checked in earlier this morning on Fox Local with the Wood National Cemetery Milwaukee VA ceremony happening in Milwaukee. This is a little bit further west, out in Brookfield this morning. Let me see, because I think there's some music playing underneath of this for you as well. There we have some of the band playing, as this has been a Wisconsin Memorial Park hosting a Veterans Day ceremony. Started early this morning, 9 a.m., runs till about 3 p.m. There's been a series of different music and speakers as well throughout the day today, and we'll try to check in with this periodically as you're hearing some of the band playing there. I believe, if this is the right band listed here, the Lake Country Brass Quintet was one of the bands featured. A number of others, as you're seeing, much more than just a quintet playing here, will be performing throughout the day. The Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band as well. The many different ceremonies happening on this Memorial Day. There's also, from the grand and certainly a parade in the nation's capital, to the more subtle but just as powerful here, as we're going to get Brett Lemoyne joining us now from out in Muskego. And Brett, as we introduce you and bring you on here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, I know we always try to track down a number of different stories on Memorial Day. You found a really fascinating one because it is so grassroots, and we see those flags lining the street behind you. Tell us what you're reporting on today on this Memorial Day.
Yeah, I mean, just such a touching symbol, sight that's out here in Muskego today, Carl. We are, as you said, in Muskego at East Drive and Rossmar Drive, in a little neighborhood that's very quiet, but on Memorial Day they really come out in full force. Take a look at this. There are 1,116 American flags that line the streets here. Neighbors say they started putting these flags out at around 5:30 this morning. It took them about an hour and 15 minutes to put them all up. They'll stay up all day today until about 7:30 tonight when they'll take them down. But along the way, you'll see some yellow signs dispersed in between all of these flags. All those yellow signs, they mark the many battles that our soldiers have fought going back since the Civil War. And we've noticed all day that people stopped. They've turned into this neighborhood. They've gone up and down the streets, had a moment to pause and reflect, as some of the veterans who live on this street have done. And one of them is Dave Wenzel. He's a Vietnam vet who helped kind of coordinate and organize this whole thing today. And he said, you know, it really means a lot to him because he lost some of his friends and brothers and sisters fighting in Vietnam. And it's a hard day for him. He put up his American flag on his flagpole, a much larger flag, but one that, you know, he does in honor and in reflection of the lives lost on Memorial Day. Just an incredible sight to see, and it's been something that, you know, people, like we said, have stopped, they've pulled over, they've walked around in this neighborhood, and the neighbors they love that. They love all of the attention that this gets, because they say, you know, it's one thing to read about history in a history book, but to see all of these flags and what they represent, and each of the battles too. On each of those battle signs, there's a number. It's the number of servicemen and women who have died in that particular battle. And they say it really puts things in perspective, Carl.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing the different conflicts represented there as well. Pearl Harbor was one of the signs your photojournalist just zoomed in on. I believe an effort in the Korean War as well. I think Lexington and Concord was there. So yeah. Memorial Day actually has its history dating back to the time of the Civil War, but for this display at least going well back to our nation's founding, even when it comes to this. I love it too, Brett, because we cover so many of these big events, massive organizations like the Milwaukee VA and others putting on ceremonies on Memorial Day. Day, and that's wonderful, and that's great to have those many people honored and recognized. But there's something special about this being a neighborhood, just a neighborhood that wanted to do something to show their respect and appreciation for those many different veterans who served, and unfortunately in this case, as we're seeing the numbers, died in service to America. What have you learned about the origins of this? Is this something they've been doing for years and years and years? Was there, a certain person in the neighborhood that got it started? What have you found out about this?
Yeah, it's only been a couple of years now that they've been doing it, but it is now ingrained in this neighborhood as an annual tradition. It's basically because of two Vietnam vets who live on a cul-de-sac here. They're very close friends. One of them out golfing today, which kind of made me happy that he actually wasn't around to speak to, that he was enjoying this holiday and taking time for himself. But this other gentleman that we spoke with, Dave, he said, yeah, this is just something that they wanted to do. And in fact, Carl, one lady told me, she pulled over and we were talking, and she said that one year the ground was so cold, everything was still so frozen on Memorial Day that they had a hard time putting the flags in, and one of those vets actually whittled down the end of each one of these flags so that they could put them in the ground a little easier. And I thought that was just wow, right? I mean, what an effort there. But also, it's just reflective of this neighborhood in particular. A couple other neighbors said, this is just a really tight-knit neighborhood. Everybody knows each other. Everybody loves their neighbor. And they come out actually every night. There's usually a group of them that walk together. So sometimes it's, maybe 2 or 3. Sometimes it's a dozen or more. And they just come and they all gather together and they walk their neighborhood together, which I thought was just a wonderful kind of thing to note about the people living here too. It's not just the folks that are driving past that come and really care. It's the people that are here too. So
yeah,
just extraordinary. But
it sounds like also a neighborhood that is that way each and every day, right? Not just on Memorial Day when so much of the attention and focus is on them.
Exactly. Yeah. But such a touching tribute, and so appropriate today of all days, right?
Any significance to that total number of flags? I know we've been covering last week going into the Memorial Day weekend, the field of flags at the Wisconsin War Memorial in downtown Milwaukee. There's a certain number, over 27,000, the total number of Wisconsinites who have died in conflicts. You said their number of flags is well over 1,000. Any specific reason why that number, or just they keep adding to it each year?
They just keep adding to it, Carl. The number just keeps growing and growing and growing. They ordered about I think 3 dozen this past year in preparation for this particular day for 2025, but that number just keeps growing. So yeah, no real significance to the 1,116 flags that you see behind me here, but it's just a number that will not be consistent next year, because there will no doubt be more that will be added, and this will just keep growing and growing. It's already stretched down past what is this, Rossmar Court, that it wasn't here last year, so they've added to it in one direction on the street. They're gonna, I think, maybe go down a little bit more on East Drive next year if they're able to. But just something that caught our attention. We hadn't heard of this particular demonstration, this lovely gesture that's out here in Muskego before. Wanted to check it out, and by golly, it is touching. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And even that last sign, a major offensive in World War I represented as well, as they certainly know their military history also. All right, Brett, thank you so much for sharing this with us, and much more to come from Brett reporting the story. You'll get to hear some of those characters, some of those neighbors' stories tonight on Fox Local, thanks to Brett. But man, you and your photographer, I love this, because for a certain neighborhood, obviously, it means so much, but I'm glad that we can kind of shed some light on it. If you're not just randomly driving by, you now have an appreciation for what that neighborhood is like, and those 2 Vietnam vets who got it started. Thank you very much. Looking forward to your story, Brett, later today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carl.
That is Brett Lemoyne covering that in Muskego for us. And yes, if you want to see that full story, it will be up later on Fox Local as well as on our different app and website as well. He mentioned starting with Vietnam veterans, though. Let's get you back to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, the series of speakers that we've seen out there right in front, excuse me as I get the right camera here for you, right in front of the Vietnam Wall there in Washington, D.C. We'll get the audio up as well, as there's been a series of speakers at this Memorial Day celebration in the nation's capital.
Maybe a pound and a half. You can throw about as far as maybe as far as a baseball. But I just want you to know that I too, I feel your pain because you got a Purple Heart. So did I, May 28th, 50 years ago. Tomorrow will be. I just wanted to point out that I got shot in a very unusual place. Like, back here? Okay. I think I look around me today and talk to so many nice people. It's just a fantastic country we live in. And I would like to say a good thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to the United States Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, because they will keep us safe. So I became very interested in psychology when I was in college, and I came up with an idea for PTSD. And why don't we take these PTSD veterans and give them something big to live with? And that was successful, and the whole project ended properly because it just had to do it. So many guys were committing suicide, and there were so many bad things happening, and it was rough. But I'm feeling pretty good here, and I think the good old USA gets a bum rap. Let's stick together, okay? Yeah, man.
While that continues in Washington, D.C., there's a series of ceremonies, as we alluded to at the top of the Wisconsin Live Desk here. I want to take you to one other one because there's been a procession now. This is the U.S. Navy's Memorial Day ceremony. There was a wreath laying along with the U.S. Navy Band and Navy Ceremonial Guard presenting the colors there. Let's listen in to this ceremony on this Memorial Day 2025 as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Commander Ian McCarthy, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, will now offer the invocation.
I invite you to pray with me. Eternal Lord God, you alone spread out the heavens and rule the raging sea. We give thanks to you for the land of our birth, with all its chartered liberties, for all the wonder of our country's story, for leaders in nation and state, and for those who in days past and in these present times have labored for the Commonwealth, for those who in all times and places have been true and brave, and in the world's common ways have lived upright lives and served their neighbors, for those who served our country in her hour of need, and especially for those who have given their lives in that service. O Almighty God and most merciful Father, as we remember these your servants, remembering with gratitude their courage and strength, we hold before you those who mourn them. Look upon your bereaved servants with your mercy. As this day brings us memories of those who have lost a while, may it also bring your consolation and the assurance that comes from our hope in the resurrection from the grave unto eternal life. Take into your most gracious protection our country's Navy and all who serve therein. Preserve us from the dangers of the sea and from the violence of the enemy. that we may be a safeguard unto the United States of America and a security for such as sail upon these seas, under the surface and in the skies, in peaceful and lawful missions. In serving you, O Lord, may our sailors serve their country. It is in your great and holy name we pray. Amen.
Guests, please be seated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Vice Admiral John Nowell, United States Navy retired, President and Chief Executive Officer, U.S. Navy Memorial Foundation.
Just to get you up to speed, if you're just joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, this is the ceremony at the U.S. Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. Let's listen back.
Today, we join together to honor the sea service veterans from the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Merchant Marine who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their nation. Chaplain McCarthy, thank you very much for that moving prayer. You surely set the right tone, and we're going to give you credit for the great weather today. So well done. My thanks to all who join us here on the Granite Sea or online to celebrate a very special day, made even more special by the presence of the 79th Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable John Phelan. We also welcome his Chief of Staff, John Harrison, and SecNav. And John, we know how busy your schedules are. We appreciate you being here with us. You send a strong signal to all who are serving, have served, and will serve. So thank you, sir. As I look out at the crowd today, I do indeed see all these groups, those who have served, those who will serve, and those who are serving represented, from the Sea Cadets to currently serving sailors, like Petty Officer Kyle Summers, who's here with us from the USS Spruance. He came here on leave, heads back tonight, just back from a deployment, and will deploy again in the not-too-distant future. Kyle, if I can ask you to stand up for a minute. I know it will embarrass you. Kyle is an Aegis fire controlman, so he keeps that guided missile destroyer humming, and on one mid-watch in the Red Sea, he told us about shooting down drones, anti-ship ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what your U.S. sailors are doing right now in many places of the world. Sometimes it doesn't get a lot of press, but I can tell you they're doing a good job. Kyle, you make us all proud. Thank you. And let me also recognize the many veterans that we have. So whether you're in the seats in front, whether you're around the sides, if you're a veteran, can I please ask you to stand up? And if I can also ask your families, because we know that no one can do what they do as a service member without their family's support, I'll ask you to stand up as well and ask for a round of applause for your service and sacrifice to the nation. Thank you very much. Admiral Fanley, to you and the Naval District Washington team, thank you for hosting this event and putting this ceremony together. As always, your team does a tremendous job and shows exactly the right amount of respect for those who deserve the utmost of respect. Our thanks to the Navy Band, the Ceremonial Guard, and the Sea Cadets for joining us today. There is no event at the Navy Memorial that is not made more special by you being here, so our thanks. And I'd also like to recognize our sea service partners from the Fleet Reserve Association and the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society who will join us in the wreath-laying ceremony. A special thank you to the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society, who is also sponsoring the reception. And having been a board member of the Relief Society while in uniform, I can personally attest to all that they do for our sailors and our Marines and their families. So again, our thanks, and my thanks to both the FRA and the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society for being such strong partners throughout the years. The mission of the Navy Memorial is to honor, recognize, and celebrate the men and women of the sea services, past, present, and future, and to inform the public about what they do and how important what they do is. And so this is a very, very special day for us. It's a critical time to remember and honor those service members who made the ultimate sacrifice. So again, my thanks to all who are here to be part of this ceremony. And today is a pretty special day for me as I look back at 38 years in uniform in the Navy and as a surface warfare officer mainly on guided missile destroyers like Kyle. I deployed in both peacetime and wartime on destroyers, cruisers, on a strike group, as well as a destroyer squadron. And what remained the same throughout all those tours and all those years is what Secretary Phelan continuously emphasizes, that every mission we execute, every challenge we face, and every victory that we achieve begins with the strength and the resilience of our people. At the end of the ceremony, I would ask all of you to please join us, whether in World War II or in the Red Sea today, our people, our warfighters, are truly our most important warfighting asset. And sadly, serving one's country sometimes requires you to make the ultimate sacrifice. It's our duty to carry on each of their legacies and to honor them today and every day. We honor all who were lost, but many of you, like me, will have special memories of a few. One of those few, for me, was my roommate from the Naval Academy, Lieutenant Rich McBride, a naval aviator who was killed while trying to help fellow naval aviators in distress in the air. He accomplished this, but at the cost of his own life. The story is much longer, but the central fact is that Rich, like many of your fallen shipmates, was a true hero. And so today, I will spend some time thinking about Rich and remembering and honoring his legacy as you do the same. As we honor those fallen service members, though, I would like to acknowledge that this is the 250th anniversary of the Navy and Marine Corps. America is and always has been a maritime nation, and the Navy and Marine Corps have defended freedom with our partners and allies around the world since their creation in 1775. And as the Secretary of Defense remarked yesterday, in 1776, some incredibly brave men charted the course so that we could live free. But you never get 1776 without 1775, without those who were willing to take up arms to defend it. And make no mistake, under Secretary Phelan's leadership, we will continue to build up our warfighting naval forces and protect our liberties. After the ceremony, we do hope that you will join us in the Navy Memorial Visitor Center for a light reception and to check out some of our new interactive exhibits, to include one that showcases the Maritime Industrial Base, the foundry that builds and supports our fleet. And we hope that many of you will join us back here on the 4th of June on the Granite Sea for the Battle of Midway commemoration ceremony. Now it's my honor to introduce Admiral David Fanley, Commandant of Naval District, Washington. Admiral Fanley has over 30 years...
Well, the ceremony continues there at the U.S. Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. We do have to take a short break for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but how about this juxtaposition? What this day represents, the next event on the calendar through the U.S. Navy Memorial, just found this online, Movies on the Memorial. They're doing an evening movie there in the square, Finding Nemo, on May 29th. So you have a day like that because of a day like today and the sacrifice of so many, protecting freedoms at home for those of us lucky enough to live here. On this Memorial Day, we're going to take a short break, get you back to some of the other ceremonies happening around Wisconsin and around the country here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back in a moment.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, Carl Duffenbaugh here with you on this Memorial Day from the Wisconsin Live Desk. This is the beauty of the Live Desk. We have feeds all over the place. We're going to get you back to a local ceremony happening out in Brookfield, but I just noticed out of the corner of my eye, look who stepped to the podium. The celebrations in Washington, D.C. That would be actor Gary Sinise, of course, Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan, but he himself, as a real person, has done so much for veterans and the U.S. military over the decades. Let's listen in to actor Gary Sinise discussing things at the National Memorial Day Parade in D.C.
In service to our country, the nation which forgets its defenders will itself be forgotten. Calvin Coolidge's famous quote, and it lives on in my heart, and it's so appropriate today. We can never forget the sacrifices that have kept us free all these years. God bless those families. God bless all who serve, and God bless our great country. Thank you very much, everybody.
God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Gary Sinise.
Yes, indeed. That is Gary Sinise as the anchors handle things there on different coverage of the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. A chance to hear some words from a man who has certainly made that his life's calling there, supporting the U.S. military and different veterans around the country. Now, closer to home, this is something we mentioned earlier. We're going to try to catch a little bit of the music being performed right now as part of the Wisconsin Memorial Park Memorial Day ceremonies. This is out in Brookfield as the music gets to a crescendo. Let's listen in. Wow, such a performance there. I caught it just at the right moment as well. This is a series of different performing groups putting on this ceremony. Started 9 a.m. this morning, runs until 3 p.m. Let's listen to some more.
Armed Forces Salute. This is a medley of all of the service branches songs. And if you have served in a particular branch of the Armed Forces, or you have relatives that have served, please stand and be recognized when your song is played. Thank you very much.
Fantastic performance there as part of the Memorial Day celebrations. The chance to honor the different service members. You saw that. That was powerful, seeing them stand repeatedly as the different branches' music were played there. Now, I believe I misspoke earlier. I think I said it was the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band performing at this ceremony for Memorial Day at Wisconsin Memorial Park. I believe that was actually the Night Wind Ensemble. They started at noon, so the Night Wind Ensemble playing that amazing music, whereas the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band is performing later on today around 2 o'clock or so. So maybe we'll be able to bring you some of that on the Wisconsin Live Desk as well. But a wonderful scene out there in Brookfield today on this Memorial Day. Hey, we have to take another short break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. There is so much happening around the country to honor our different veterans and, of course, those who paid the ultimate sacrifice with their lives defending the freedoms of this country. Much more to come on a Memorial Day edition of the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, Carl Leffenbaugh rejoining you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We keep rolling as we do every Monday through Friday, 12:30 to 2:30, here from our Milwaukee studios, bringing you the news as it happens throughout that 2-hour window here in southeastern Wisconsin, of course, across the state and the Midwest, and on this day especially around the country. We've had some of the Memorial Day ceremonies here locally in the nation's capital. I wanted to show you quickly a nice live camera that we have from New York City as well. Now, this is a familiar sight to me. I actually grew up in New Jersey, so have visited this a number of times. But if you've never been, this is the USS Intrepid, an aircraft carrier that was a World War II era carrier that is now a living, working museum there right on the Hudson River in New York City. If you ever get the chance, it's fascinating. You can walk around the different exhibits, but also the full aircraft that they have on the deck of that aircraft carrier there. Again, the USS Intrepid survived 5 different kamikaze attacks as well as a torpedo strike during World War II. It did not go down. Later served, in fact, in the Cold War, the Vietnam War. It was a NASA recovery vessel as well, just quite an impressive vehicle and vessel there. And think about all the many hundreds, thousands of people that served in the U.S. Navy on board the USS Intrepid, now a museum today in New York City. Certainly, I would imagine a popular spot on this Memorial Day, as it is most days in New York City. We want to get you further south on the East Coast now. We mentioned this Memorial Day parade happening in the nation's capital, and we even caught some of the remarks there from Gary Sinise and others taking part. I believe, actually, we just missed General Dan Kane of the U.S. Air Force, who is the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman, just spoke at the beginning of this parade. So the podium is now being cleared. It looks like the parade is about to get underway, and there is coverage of this as well, with a couple of my anchor brethren covering this for us from the nation's capital up and down Constitution Avenue there in Washington, D.C. So let's listen in, because I'll have a few more details on the different groups represented as you see so many of those flags and banners unfurled in Washington, D.C. Let's listen to some of the proceedings, the Memorial Day Parade in our nation's capital.
I got the official cue.
Oh, man.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let the parade begin!
When their country is called, the men and women of the United States military have answered. It began in 1775, June 14th. As American militiamen besieged the British in Boston, Congress ordered the creation of a new army, a Continental Army, the birth of the United States Army. 4 months later, October 13th, the Navy was born, and November 10th, the United States Marine Corps. Declaring independence, Congress pledged their lives, fortunes, and their sacred honor. And through the Revolution and generations since, American service members have lived out that pledge, and they have sacrificed. 80 years ago, World War II, more than 400,000 lost to war, 36,000 in Korea, 58,000 in Vietnam, and 7,500 fallen in operations since. Memorial Day is their day, the United States military's most sacred day. At the National Memorial Day Parade along Constitution Avenue, and at parades and ceremonies around the country, we honor those who gave their last full measure of devotion. And as we commemorate the 250th birthday of the United States military, to all who have served, to all who have sacrificed, we offer you our lasting gratitude and our pledge to always remember.
From Washington, D.C. on the beautiful and iconic Constitution Avenue, welcome to the 2025 National Memorial Day Parade presented by Boeing. And a special thanks to the one and only Tom Cruise for kicking off today's show.
Please welcome Navy vocalist, Staff Sergeant Caroline Nielsen, and the Memorial Day Festival Chorus under the direction of Dr. Michael Martin.
Wow, I got chills.
I still have chills.
Beautiful.
Man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous song there from our nation's capital as we give you another shot of the USS Intrepid farther north in New York City there. Was not expecting to get Tom Cruise on the Wisconsin Live Desk today, but there you go. The man knows how to deliver a speech, I can say that. We are going to take one more break for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll keep things rolling, see if we can get you back to the parade as it's about to be underway there in Washington, D.C., and anything else that's happening related to Memorial Day or other news of the day here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. That's up after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Carl Deffenbaugh back with you on this Monday afternoon, Memorial Day throughout the United States today. Also a day for some baseball over at the ballpark, and there was quite the celebration and ceremony before the game for the Milwaukee Brewers underway right now. As you see the roof open, even the lights on a little bit there in the early goings. After quite the pairing, Jordan Love, the Packers QB, threw out the first pitch today to Christian Yelich. I can say from watching video from our own Lily Zhao, let's just say a little bit maybe high and outside from QB1 for the Packers, but that's okay. That's not the ball he's used to throwing. So you can find that video later on or check out Lily's Twitter account, X account, if you want to see the video of the first pitch. That's some of the fun happening here locally at the ballpark today. Great day to be out tailgating too, in the mid-50s, even a little cool by Memorial Day standards perhaps, but the sun is out, hardly a cloud in the sky for the folks enjoying the last day of this 3-day weekend. And then, of course, while that is happening, we are continuing to watch the reason for this day, the sacrifice of so many of our nation's service members here as we get you the Intrepid, and then once again the parade happening in our nation's capital, the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. We were tracking a series of ceremonies in the nation's capital. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund right outside of the Vietnam Wall on the nation's capital just wrapped up. So we were going to bring you a little bit more of the speakers there, but that just ended, as did the U.S. Navy's memorial celebration today. But the large parade down Constitution Avenue in D.C. continues. Let's listen to some more of the action, the images, and all the rest coming from our service members there in the nation's capital underneath that giant Stars and Stripes.
Declaring independence, Congress created the Continental Army on June 14, 1775. The Navy was born on October 13th, and the Marine Corps, November 10th. As we celebrate our military's birthday, these marching platoons join us in the spirit of service and sacrifice. Here is the Army Band, popularly known as the Band of the Nation's Capital. The band started in 1883 and is the official musical ambassador of the District of Columbia Army National Guard. This band has played countless events of state and national importance, including the burial of the unknown soldier in 1921 at Arlington National Cemetery.
Joining us in this special opening tribute are platoons from each branch of the armed forces, including the United States Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard.
We are honored to present the Grand Marshals of the 2025 National Memorial Day Parade, recipients of our nation's highest award for valor, the Medal of Honor. The medal is awarded for gallantry in combat beyond the call of duty. Of more than 3,500 recipients in our history, only 61 survive today.
As we commemorate the 250th birthday of the United States Army, Navy, and Marine Corps, these heroes join to represent all who have served and sacrificed through our history. A gracious thank you to our presenting sponsor, Boeing, for making their participation possible. And thank you to our Medal of Honor recipients. This 50-foot long, this giant Stars and Stripes, is being carried by employee volunteers from Leidos.
The organization was established in 1974 by returning Vietnam-era veterans with a goal of addressing academic needs of veterans and peer counseling programs. Their important work continues today. Leidos is an innovation company, rapidly addressing the world's most vexing challenges in national security and health. Their 48,000 employees collaborate to create smarter technology solutions for customers in these critical markets.
from Rancho Cucamonga in sunny California, let's welcome the Altaloma Entertainment Corps. Playing a John Philip Sousa march, this award-winning band from Altaloma High School is making their debut performance in the National Memorial Day Parade. We welcome them. Let's listen.
And while that group takes its debut performance there in the nation's Memorial Day Parade, we have to take one more break for you, but we will get you back to this. This is great stuff from our nation's capital, entertaining to watch here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Got much more from this Memorial Day Parade after this short break.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, Carl Defenbaugh back with you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Memorial Day 2025, and we are approaching 1:30, which means it's my time to hand things off to Ben Handelman, standing by on the other side of this glass here. He'll handle things for the rest of the Live Desk for you up until 2:30. Still a lot to get to. That local event out in Brookfield will be picking back up again. We'll try to get you some more of the music and the celebrations there from the Wisconsin Memorial Park out in Brookfield for their Memorial Day. Also, quite an interesting story from our Christina Van Zelst, but I'll let Ben have the honor of relaying all that to you. While we do our little handover here with our computer systems, get him up to speed in the studio, we're going to leave you with the Memorial Day Parade in the nation's capital. Such an interesting event to watch and some big names. We had Tom Cruise doing the open to this parade here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, coming off the debut of Mission Impossible, of course, over the weekend as well, and someone so closely tied to the U.S. Navy, at least with his time in those two Top Gun movies. But let's listen and watch. You'll enjoy some of the Memorial Day Parade from the nation's capital up and down Constitution Avenue there in D.C. Ben Handelman will be with you on the other side. Thanks a lot for watching the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Great extra special treats for patriotic veterans. I hear them.
All right, with that unmistakable sound, let's make our way for the Washington Scottish Pipe Band and Color Guard of the St. Andrews Society of Washington, D.C., sponsored by Independent Apparel. Formed in the 1920s, the band consists of civilian, active duty, and retired musicians of various backgrounds, and who have been piping for anywhere from 4 to 60 years.
Well, now this color guard of St. Andrews Society of Washington, D.C. is a bit newer, beginning 15 years ago. The group is comprised of U.S. and U.K. military veterans.
All right, from Wichita, Kansas, making their first trip since the COVID pandemic, let's give a warm welcome to the campus high school Colt Marching Band.
They appeared in the Outback and Cotton Bowls, as well as Walt Disney World and New York City. The Colt Marching Band is thrilled to reignite their traveling traditions by honoring our fallen soldiers at the National Memorial Day Parade. Take a listen.
All right, our next float is made possible by the Gary Sinise Foundation, founded by actor and humanitarian, the great actor Gary Sinise. His nonprofit honors the families of our fallen heroes who joined Gary in today's parade. Today we remember their sacrifices.
And they not only honor the families of our fallen, they help our nation's most severely wounded military members. They support our veterans, and they do so much more. They are impacting the lives of those who serve in defense of freedom each and every day. Learn more and see how you can participate by visiting GarySiniseFoundation.org. Thank you to the Gary Sinise Foundation. Thank you, Gary. We love you so much. One of the parade's great champions, one of America's great patriots.
And now we are pleased to present a message from Tony Crutchfield, Vice President for Army Systems, representing our presenting sponsor, the Boeing Company.
Memorial Day is a time to honor the fallen service members who gave their lives to defend our nation. Let's remember their bravery and their sacrifices. Today we reflect on their legacies and acknowledge with compassion their loved ones' painful losses. Together we honor our fallen heroes who gave their lives to protect our way of life. On behalf of the Boeing Company, thank you to the American Veterans Center for making this parade possible and for your continued commitment to supporting all veterans.
The National Memorial Day Parade 2025, presented by Boeing, is brought to you by ServPro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration, Events DC, the Gary Sinise Foundation, U-Haul, John Deere, and by the American Veterans Center. Join our mission to preserve their legacy at AmericanVeteransCenter.org.
Ben Haleman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Okay, you're watching live now the nation's Memorial Day Parade down Constitution Avenue there in Washington, D.C. as I'm unbelievable. We had Tom Cruise on the Wisconsin Live Desk. How am I supposed to top that as Carl Deffenbaugh brought you a very jam-packed first hour here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Okay, quickly, I just want to show you some of the other feeds that are coming in right now. Live look at the White House is obviously an important day in our nation's capital as we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. There are Memorial Day celebrations and ceremonies happening all across the U.S., of course, here in Wisconsin. And I was just past one in a beautiful ceremony in Whitefish Bay today. USS Intrepid, another live picture we have. This is in New York City. Carl Deffenbaugh was telling me he's been here a number of times. I grew up in Connecticut, been by here a number of times. I've actually never visited the Intrepid, but it's an incredible, incredible museum that they have turned into, and they parked it right there in New York City on the Hudson. So this is on my bucket list to go and visit this. It's one stop that a lot of people make when they're in
New York City, and one that obviously it's incredible that they still have this, a warship that survived so many battles in World War II and continued to serve our country until it was declassified and turned into a museum. And you can see you can see the aircraft that are parked on there still. This aircraft carrier, back obviously built, was in service in the 1940s, and it's really now a floating museum of history. So that's very cool to have a live picture there from New York City. Hey, big day at the ballpark. I just want to show you this. I'm not sure. I have to get some confirmation on this. I think this is the first game of the year that they've had the roof open there at American Family Field on Memorial Day. The team just coming back from Pittsburgh, where they split with the Pirates. And this is also a very important day at the ballpark. You know what today is? It is Dollar Dog Day, and Jordan Love just throughout the first pitch, which we can confirm was high and outside. But for him, it's a strike because, he's used to throwing footballs, not baseballs. He threw it to Christian Yelich, was the catcher there. But it's Dollar Dog Day at American Family Field, which some people do an unofficial challenge to see if they can eat one hot dog every single inning. And some people actually pair that with a beer too, which is dangerous. But even the hot dog part's dangerous enough. One hot dog every inning, that would be 9 hot dogs. It will only cost you $9 plus tax. And your gut will hate you for it. I think that challenge gets very difficult in the 9th inning. Would not recommend, but hey, people are doing it down at the ballpark. Dollar Dog Day, one of my favorite Brewers promotions, I guess you could call it, that they're having there. The Red Sox are in town today from Boston. So back home, the Brewers are back home on a beautiful, beautiful day. We're in the 50s, so it could be a little warmer, but we got high pressure that is in control right now. So hopefully we could check in with our weather expert, Stephanie Barcello, maybe in the next hour, as there's nothing to show you on the radar right now, although there is some rain expected in the days to come, which is good for me because I just planted all my flowers yesterday, like so many people did. Went down to the, someone's playing with the radar here. I'm not sure. Ooh, okay, Antioch. They got a little storm system down there. So the weather experts are kind of playing with things, and I'm zooming in on there. Busy day for travel, but we have had no issues in the Milwaukee metro area. I'm not sure I've seen that much green in a while here in Milwaukee, as obviously people are traveling to and from great destinations up north, possibly. Maybe you're going down to Chicago and Illinois, or to and from, or there's a lot of people from Illinois who are vacationing in Wisconsin this weekend. But the roads are really no problem. You just got that spot on 41. That is construction related that has that slowdown. But very busy Memorial Day in the air as well. And there's a reminder from the TSA to bring your real ID if you have one. So let's get back to the nation's capital, where this parade is continuing in Washington, D.C. This is so cool. There are groups and people from around the country who are in this parade. So we're watching it live. Let's take you there and listen in, as we do have some announcers who will tell you more about the people that are in this parade. You're listening live, Washington, D.C. on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And thank you, Stars and Stripes, for their sponsorship and participation in today's parade.
The National Memorial Day Parade 2025, presented by Boeing, is brought to you by American Airlines, official airline of the National Memorial Day Parade, American Battlefield Trust, Code of Support Foundation, Lions Club, and by the State of Qatar. Our tribute to the sacrifices of the American Revolution is sponsored by Events DC.
Memorial Day is a reminder to individuals who gave their lives in defense of our nation. It is a day to reflect on their sacrifices, honor their legacy, and reaffirm our commitment to the values they fought to protect. At Events DC, we are honored to partner with American Veterans Center to support the National Memorial Day Parade, a moving tribute that brings our community together to remember, reflect, and give thanks. We honor the contributions of our veterans, sacrifices made for all of us who remember. Thank you.
The next float is made possible by Events DC, the official convention and sports authority of Washington, D.C. Events DC creates unique experiences that results in jobs, economic impact, and lasting memories for residents, tourists, and guests. As the official host of the nation's capital, Events DC showcases Washington, D.C. as a world-class, family-friendly, and globally recognized destination, welcoming visitors from around the corner and around the world.
Thank you to President and CEO Angie M. Gates and Events DC for supporting this year's parade and honoring our fallen heroes. You can learn more about upcoming events by visiting eventsdc.com. Oh, look at this. Riding on the float, guess who? Miss America 2025, Abby Stockard. She's a senior at Auburn University. She's studying pediatric nursing. Abby is spending her reign traveling the country advocating for the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women initiative, as well as for cystic fibrosis research.
Let's welcome the Peninsula High School Tidehawks JROTC from Gig Harbor, Washington, making their first appearance in the National Memorial Day Parade.
They're great. They were established in 2021. This dynamic unit has swiftly risen to prominence. Get this, clinching the 2025 NJ ROTC Area 23 Drill Championship in their inaugural year.
Wow.
Now, this is incredible because they were competing against 26 programs across the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, Japan, Guam. Wow.
Wow.
Welcome, Peninsula High School Tidehawks. TAPS, Tragedy Assistant Program for Survivors. They bring us our next float, featuring family members who have lost loved ones that served in the armed forces.
TAPS provides hope, help, and healing to all those grieving the death of a service member. Riding on the float is Bonnie Carroll, TAPS president and founder, along with representatives of the Washington Commanders, longtime supporters of TAPS and our armed services.
The families that you see walking in the parade represent over 100,000 members of the TAPS family. These families of the fallen are honoring their heroes by carrying their photos with them as they walk the parade route, and they represent the true meaning of Memorial Day.
And next, we welcome the Macmillan United Pipe Bands. Going back centuries in Scotland and Ireland, bagpipes are part of both celebration and mourning.
With performances every year throughout the United States, Canada, and Scotland, Macmillan's pipes have brought home bags of trophies each year here in Washington, D.C., and we won't pipe down about that.
Oh, check it out. Indigenous Enterprise is committed to preserving and authentically representing indigenous cultures. This native company joined for the performance featuring champion powwow dancers to further their goal of amplifying indigenous voices and heritage. Native Americans have served in the U.S. military in every major conflict since the Revolution.
Ben Edelman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Incredible performances from the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. That's looking live right now on Constitution Avenue. There in D.C. as we're just seeing this incredible parade that is underway in our nation's capital. It's just one of the many things we're watching here on the Live Desk. We've got live pictures also coming in from New York City where it's also an incredible day there. Look at Lady Liberty looking not too shabby. Camera's not too great, but she's looking great on this Memorial Day as we are honoring, obviously, the sacrifice that so many have made for our country. We're also following the weather here on this Memorial Day. So many people are at the Brewers game, and I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate, but I believe this is the first game of the year that they've got the roof open, even though we're not in the 60s right now. We're in the upper 50s, but with that sunshine, it does feel pretty great out there. Of course, though, change on the way. Look at all that green off to our west. Is that heading our way? Oh, you betcha. We're going to check in with Stephanie Barakella after a quick break. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk on your Memorial Day.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. We hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend, as this is a special edition of the Wisconsin Live Desk, as we're seeing how our nation is honoring those who've made the ultimate sacrifice serving our country. We have seen celebrations in our first hour here locally, and now lately we've been in Washington, D.C., where there's a parade ongoing. We'll get you back to that coverage in just a second, because that parade is very impressive. But I got to talk about what's going on outside. Yeah, there is no really issues today, as we've seen a ton of sunshine today. The temperature's not where I'd like them to be, but we can get over that. Let's bring in a weather expert, Stephanie Varachello, joining us on Memorial Day. Hope you're enjoying the long weekend, Steph.
I am. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks for being here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Okay, this is a beautiful day, but can I tell you something that happened?
Yeah.
So this morning I'm like, you know what? We're going to go down to Lakeshore State Park, the fam, me, my wife, and my child.
Sure.
And Amelia, we got her bike. We were going to bike around by the lake. And as soon as we took the corner around Summerfest, she broke down in tears.
Oh, no.
She thought it was too cold. And she's like literally wouldn't go a step further, and the whole family got into a huge fight over it. So yeah, it's a little cool by the lake right now.
Yep, it's that same trend as we had over the weekend, right? Beautifully sunny, but it was one of those weekends, and today is exactly the same, where 1 second you need your jacket and then you take it off. And then you need it again, and it's just that back and forth, a little bit of an annoyance, we'll say, but it is. It's sunny, it's beautiful right now. We're in the 50s lakeside, 60s inland, so very, very nice away from Lake Michigan, but at least it's not in the 90s. You know, the record high for Memorial Day ever, 91 degrees. Can you believe that? That would be a little toasty, I think. So cooler than average. We should be in the 70s, but it is also, you know, a dry day. We do have rain, Ben, that's going to return likely later tomorrow night into Wednesday. Could even have a few scattered showers Thursday into Friday as well. So, you know, we had those couple of really rainy days late last week, or I should say early last week. It was Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we've been sunny ever since, but now we're entering into a more active pattern. But with that, late in the week into next weekend, it does look like those temperatures finally start to climb, even in some of our lakeshore communities. So after some of the rain that we see later on, we'll finally see some 70s returning even to the Milwaukee area.
Okay, so the 70s will be on the way.
Yes.
I was sneaking in on your weather computer earlier, and I saw you zooming in on some of the, maybe a pop-up in Illinois.
Yes. Okay, I don't think it was a pop-up. Let me zoom in. Weather experts we have a little text thread, and we're trying to figure out if maybe it's smoke being picked up. So I'm just going to loop it for you. I'm wondering if there was maybe a prescribed burn. I have not found any information on it, but you can see it's just this little pop-up is what it looks like near
a little
Antioch.
Mystery.
Yeah, but we're thinking maybe it might actually be some smoke being picked up. You see it weakens really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's super interesting.
I have not seen anything from that area, but it is within Lake County down there, and there are a lot of smaller little lakes or smaller little bodies of water. So maybe marshland, prescribed burned in some marshland area. So I don't know, TBD on that. If I figure it out, I'll let you know. But
yeah, I guess I never realized that smoke picks up the same way that rain does on the radar system, but I guess it makes sense.
It can, yeah. It doesn't always, but that would be, like I said, kind of interesting if that's what happens.
When you zoom out, that green on the map, that's what's coming our way tomorrow night?
Yes. Let me change over to radar. So that was our local radar that you guys were just looking at. Now this is more of the broader view. So it looks like a lot, but it is still pretty far off towards the west. So we're still going to be dry Tuesday, but those clouds are going to increase. So expect more of a mostly cloudy Tuesday, but then yes, the rain's going to fill in a little bit more later Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So Wednesday right now looks to be pretty soggy, kind of that all-day rain with maybe some pockets of dry time. However, looking at some of the rainfall totals, I think it's more so looking like a ½ inch of rain potentially by the end of Wednesday, not the 1 to 3 inches plus that we saw Tuesday and Wednesday. So maybe not as much of a soaker, but still some beneficial rain because we just had multiple days of dry weather. So we'll take, you know, a good ½ inch is good.
Now, didn't you have like 4 inches in your like house's rain gauge for that crazy system? That
I had over 4.5 inches.
So
which
crazy.
Is insane. And it's in a good area, but I did see reports from all across the area isolated, but of over 4 inches. So I do think it's possible. You know, some of these thunderstorms or, you know, pockets of heavy rain, they set up in a bunch of different little areas. So I do think it's entirely possible some spots picked up over 4 inches of rainfall. But then even down towards the south, look at this, Ben. Speaking of heavy rain, there's some severe weather down south, lower Mississippi Valley. That's been ongoing for a couple hours. The rain is finally ending in parts of Oklahoma. Now, it was just last month that we talked about flooding rain in Oklahoma and northern Texas. Over the last 3 days, there are parts of eastern Oklahoma that have picked up over 4 inches of rain, kind of like we've experienced. So there is some heavy rain out there.
I'm looking at the Tom Walks vacation report because, look, he left us because he didn't think the weather was good enough here. And I'm seeing a red box near Tom Walks. What's going on? So Tom didn't think it was going to be warm enough here in Wisconsin. So he decided to go down. I think it's like 95 in Dallas, and he found a hotel with a pool. But hey, Tom, look, the weather just seems to find him, doesn't it?
Do we think he's going to make it back later tonight?
We need him back, don't we?
We do. But yeah, it looks like there's some juicy storms going out west. So there you go. It's always fun for a meteorologist to actually watch thunderstorm development when you're not working, and it barely happens. So it is a vacation for him.
Looks a little cloudy in Dallas. I'm sure maybe he can't. Today's not a pool day for Tom.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
I'm doing an unofficial report on what's happening at American Family Field because I don't know if they have opened the roof until today. And look at it, wide open roof today. They don't care that it's like in the upper 50s.
That's great.
Finally.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Usually they're very, like whoever's in charge of opening and shutting the roof, very soft on like when they decide to keep it open.
I think it's 60s.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a like an actual thing. It seems random sometimes. We're like, man, it's nice out. Why is the roof closed? But today it's open. You know what today is, Steph?
Tell me.
Dollar Dog Day.
Oh, how could I forget?
Dollar Dog Day at the ballpark. Have you ever heard of this challenge that people do where you eat one hot dog every inning?
Oh, wow.
And by the end, you only spend $9, Steph.
Wow. Okay, which is essentially the price of a beer. So
or the price of usually like, I don't know what the price of a hot dog is on a normal day. I think it's something close to $9.
Yeah, it probably is.
So I don't think I've ever eaten 9 hot dogs in my entire life in a single day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
let
you're
alone
kind of
over a
pacing
2-hour
yourself,
span.
But seems a little excessive.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming here on the live desk. Good to know. I think I'm going to plant some grass. This has been my new thing. I planted all my flowers over the weekend.
Good
so
work.
They're going to like all the rain that's coming. And I think I'm going to try and plant some grass because I am really terrible at watering the new grass, the grass seed. So let's let Mother Nature help me out this weekend.
And this is good, too, because it's not going to be that fully soaking rain where it washes it all away.
Right.
It's going to be all day and just kind of a nice light rain.
That's what I mean.
There you go.
Because I am the guy who's like, I put all that seed down. Why is there still no grass there?
Right.
So, all right, Stephanie Barrichello joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Hey, stay with us. We're going to check in more live streams. Abraham Lincoln has just popped up down in Washington, D.C. So as someone who used to be a reporter in Springfield, Illinois, I've never seen more Abraham Lincoln impersonators than exist down in Springfield, Illinois. But here's good old honest Abe in our nation's capital here today. We'll check back in on this parade. I got a new feed that just popped up. This is in Brookfield where they're getting ready for a local ceremony. We've popped into this earlier, but a performance is about to take place. We'll take it live on the Wisconsin Live Desk when we return right after.
Because Instagram does have some pictures. Yeah, if we could. Cool. So, Mike, I'll probably start with the sticks.
Yeah.
And then walk over to the street light. Oh, yeah.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. You guys know the rules. It's got to be live to be on the Live Desk. And just because it's Memorial Day, it is still busy here on the Live Desk. We're following all sorts of feeds in. This is coming in from the ballpark, American Family Field. It's Dollar Dog Day, and they've got the roof open for the Boston Red Sox. Jordan Love throughout the first pitch. Just got a live feed into from Brookfield. There is a local Memorial Day ceremony taking place, and we will dip into this in a second here as a performance is about to start. But first, we got to go out to Wauwatosa. We're doing some troll hunting. Christina Van Zelst is joining us live. Christina, thanks for joining us here on the Live Desk. Now, we got to talk about this. Something interesting is being built in Wauwatosa, and the organizers don't want us to show it to our audience quite yet, but we can talk about it. So tell us about the giant troll in Wauwatosa.
Yeah, so we're going to try to give you the best picture of this troll without revealing its entire identity, because there is going to be a public reveal on Wednesday from 4 to 6. You can come out here to Wauwatosa. We are at the Firefly Grove Park. This is a brand new park in the city. So want to show you what we can. This is a massive troll. It stands at 24 feet tall, and it's over 4,000 pounds. I'm going to have Mike here pan over just to the feet. We can show you close-ups. So
we're just going to show his feet.
This is the
oh, look at those things.
Yeah, we don't want... Huge, right? And you can see some of the team here still working on this sculpture. Something cool, too. So for people who have no idea what this troll is about, this was commissioned by the city of Wauwatosa. And there is an artist who is well known, honestly, across the world. His name is Thomas Dambo. He has done over 150 of these trolls throughout the world. not in Wisconsin. This is the first troll to arrive in our state, and Thomas, the artist, is saying that it is his goal to get a troll in all 50 states. He talked about how he's honored to be bringing his art here to Wisconsin, and another really cool thing about his art, he calls himself kind of the master of trash. So everything that he uses is recycled material, things that would have been thrown away. This case, in this troll situation, the entire sculpture is made out of trees from the city of Wauwatosa that either had disease, were cut down, or so he recycled dozens of trees, and that is what is making up the structure of this troll. And then want to show you too, we'll walk over here. So these sticks and branches you see, these are what they're using for the hair of the troll. Oh, and I should tell you, her name is Mama Rosa, which rhymes with Tosa. And this artist is really cool. He actually used to be a rapper. He's from Denmark, and he did rap a poem. I'm not going to be able to recite it for you the way he did, but it gives you the story behind this troll. And then we're going to walk a little bit. So again, can't reveal the troll. It's over there.
Okay.
But this is kind of all the recycled pieces that they're using. And then he said that he's had about 200 people actually helping build this. So it's over 24 feet tall. So Mike, the photojournalist, and I, we put it together. That's about 3.5 of me stacked on top, and I'm about 5'8". So it's
this is
huge.
a big troll.
And then this is one. It's a big troll. You can't miss it. And then another cool part about this is you'll notice this street light, kind of ripped off, so to speak.
Yes, I know this is a big part of his work, right? The light poles that he found in Chicago, I believe.
So these are actually found here locally in Wisconsin, but they kind of repurpose them. So this one's ripped off. When you see the final product, it'll make a little bit more sense. But basically, the troll came through the park, picked up light poles for flowers. So the troll is standing with a bouquet of light posts that actually do light up at night. And I believe this is the first sculpture he's done that actually has this light feature. So there's some ripped off street lamps throughout this park. There's one that's kind of bent. And then when you see the final product, you'll see Mama Rosa is holding over 1,000 pounds of light poles, street lights, and sniffing one, thinking it's flowers. And the poem goes with that, with the flowers and the lights. But I can't remember it. It was long. It was a beautiful poem, and he does it better. So you'll have to have him say it for you. But yeah, that's what's going on here. It's really, really neat. We've seen a lot of people coming into the park, taking pictures, even though it is supposed to be closed. There are dozens of people here. We talked to a few on camera just about how excited they are to have something like this here in Wauwatosa. They think the tourism is going to go up, and it's a beautiful day right before summer to have something like this brought into the city is something people are really excited about.
Yeah, Thomas Dambo is I mean, he's got he's got these things all over the world, and I don't think people realize there are people who go out and travel from troll to troll to see his different pieces of work. I've actually seen one of his trolls before. I was in Breckenridge, Colorado, and one of his more famous works, and he put this thing in the woods at a trail that's really family friendly. So it's become a huge tourist attraction in Breckenridge, and I assume in Wauwatosa, that's what they're hoping will happen here.
Yeah, and actually that is, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of the reason this has been a challenge for Thomas, because this might be one of the first public spaces that he's actually built one of these sculptures, where all of the other ones, or a majority of them, are kind of off the beaten path, on hikes,
off
or
in
not
the woods
necessarily
somewhere,
in a
right?
Public space. Right, so the issue here is trying to keep it a secret, but you're in the middle of Wauwatosa, you can see it from the street. So keeping that big reveal has been a little bit different, it sounds like, for Thomas. So, but when you bring up the Breckenridge one off of a trail, you can kind of see why that's a little bit different and probably easier to keep under wraps than where we're at right now.
Yeah, this is kind of unique, and we are playing ball with the city of Wauwatosa. We don't want to ruin anybody's surprise. But the question is, when are they going to unveil this thing? When is the big celebration? This is the new park in Wauwatosa too, so it's kind of 2 for, because they've got this, what will be its own kind of attraction if you want to go and see the troll statue. But then they got this really cool park that they're building. So when are they unveiling it? When can we finally show you the troll in its entirety?
Wednesday, and we can actually show you the park. So we can show you like the street lamps that are inspired part of the troll sculpture here. So Wednesday from 4 to 6 is when the public is invited to come out to this park. It'll be officially open. A big part of what the city did here, and I don't know if you can see them, Ben, but there's some solar panels in the back there.
Yeah.
So everything here is sustainability is the theme of this park, and that's why the troll was the perfect fit, because everything used in that is being recycled. The lights will turn on through the solar panels. So this park, brand new to Wauwatosa, the sustainability piece of it was the center of this whole project, and it is closed. You can still see people are kind of enjoying it today because it's a beautiful day. But officially, it will be open on Wednesday, and that is the big reveal for the troll too.
Do we know who paid for the troll? I can't imagine bringing this Danish troll maker in is cheap, and he's obviously kind of world renowned. And this park looks incredible. Is this all taxpayer dollars, or is it a mixture of public and maybe private donations to make this all happen?
So it's my understanding that the city commissioned this. It is not taxpayer money. I believe it's money that was budgeted in the tourism department. I don't know how much it cost. I'll have to get you that answer. But I was talking with people who are actually coming out to see the troll and asked them what they thought, and they all told me that it did not cost them a dime living here in Wauwatosa to have this in this park. So it sounds like it was funds that were already set aside, and this is what they chose to use it for. And it's already getting dozens of people coming out to see it. So, and if you want to see again, we'll kind of show you what we can.
Yeah, just I like that you just showed us like his toenails.
Some of the workers. Yeah, well, they're huge, right? Too the toenails.
Is Thomas out there?
Actually,
have we seen him?
He is. Let's see.
Is he up on the troll though?
Show you him without.
Without revealing.
Okay, no, he's actually, we'll walk to the side. He's got a bucket hat on. He's talking with some other folks up there. So he's the one with the bucket hat. We just interviewed him.
Now he's also a rapper. Did he do some,
from,
I know he read you a poem. Did he like spit some rap?
Well, he kind of rapped it. He kind of rapped it. And I didn't know about his rapper background until after, because I was honestly blown away. And he said, oh yeah, I used to be a rapper and an artist. And I'm like, okay, casual.
Is he enjoying his time here? I mean, he's traveled the world doing this. I think his first ever troll was on like a random island off of Puerto Rico. Is he enjoying his time here in Wisconsin as someone who's been all around the world?
It sounds like it. I asked him what sticks out to you about the Dairyland state, but it seems like most of his time has been spent here for the last about 3 weeks is how long it's taken them to build this troll. He said they went to a punk bar, but he couldn't remember the name of it, but that was been his favorite place that he's visited in Wisconsin. I said, you have to get some classics in there while you're still here. But his goal, like I said, is to get a troll in every single state, and he's at about 20 states right now. So very cool how he travels across the world building these, and every single troll is totally different. If you look on his website, we'll have that linked later as well, but you can see the different features. Again, this is the first one with the lighting feature on it, but they're all, some of them are laying down, some of them look more animalistic. This one is Mama Rosa, so it's a lady, and she's trolling. She's trolling out here in Wauwatosa.
Mama Rosa from Tosa. I can't wait to see how her hair looks at the end. Looks like they're still putting that up. And Wednesday, the big reveal, even though some of these pictures have leaked. We've gotten a little bit of, but we're not going to ruin the surprise here at Fox 6. We're going to play by the rules and let everyone see Mama Rosa in her full complete form on Wednesday. What a fun story. I could talk trolls all day with you, Christina Van Zelst.
I know, I'm having fun. It's a beautiful day, and it's honestly, it is really cool to see the process of how they put together this troll. I've seen his work before, so being able to talk to him in person is, I feel very blessed.
Yeah, he's such a character from what I've just learned about him in the last week. So how cool that Wauwatosa's got this.
I know, you got to hear his rap.
We'll look forward to it on Fox 6 News at 4, 5, and 6, hopefully. Christina Van Zelst out in Wauwatosa. Appreciate you being here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, I want to bring everybody out Brookfield real quick. Just show you what's going on here. A celebration is underway and a ceremony for Memorial Day services. We're going to bring you this live when we return to the Wisconsin.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman with this special edition of the Wisconsin Live Desk on your Memorial Day. Hope you're enjoying a long weekend, and we are remembering what this day is really for, honoring the men and women who gave their lives for our country. There are ceremonies happening all throughout our country, paying respects and honoring the sacrifice of those who have given their lives and our veterans all across the U.S. I want to take you to Brookfield, Wisconsin. This is happening live. We've got a concert that is taking place right now. This is at the Wisconsin Memorial Park. They're holding a special community ceremony. And this is the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band, who is now performing. So why don't we listen in here for a bit out in Brookfield on your Memorial Day. If I can get the right, there we go. Okay, let's listen in. Ben Handelman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. So this is out there in Brookfield at Wisconsin Memorial Park on your Memorial Day. This is a community event that's been taking place today in what is a very beautiful building out there. If you've ever been to Wisconsin Memorial Park, this is in their great hall here. And this is the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band performing for those gathered on remembrance on this Memorial Day. And they've had really celebrations all throughout the day out there in Brookfield. We've been also following different ceremonies and celebrations in our nation's capital as well. But this ceremony continues, so let's listen in.
National Emblem is a march that John Philip Sousa, because you can tell I'm kind of a Sousaphile, right? And so John Philip Sousa had mentioned about this particular march that is not his. It was composed by Edwin Eugene Bagley. He said this is like one of the most perfect marches, and he played it on almost every concert. He made it famous because his band played it. We're playing it for you today, probably a little different than what it sounded like when he played it. Nonetheless, it should be just as exciting. Please enjoy National Emblem March.
From the Wisconsin Live Desk, you're listening to a performance out at Wisconsin Memorial Park in Brookfield. This is the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band. I didn't have John Sousa on my bucket list, on my bingo card when we started the Wisconsin Live Desk today, but that's what's exciting about this show. You don't know what will happen and when. So we'll continue to listen in to this concert. Got a new feed up for you, and let's just soak in these images here. That is St. Pete Beach. Oh, my producer's telling me this is Clearwater Beach. It's all the same. It's a beach. It's in Florida, and it's absolutely gorgeous here on our Memorial Day, as so many are ending up their long weekend at a beautiful place on the beach where they have bright sunshine. Beautiful shot there from Florida as well. Locally, also following what's going on, AmFam Field. We got a bird flying around. The roof is open. Not in the 60s at American Family Field, but upper 50s. Sunshine's out, feels good, and the Boston Red Sox are in town on Dollar Dog Day. People are getting $1 hot dogs at the ballpark today. We're also following this feed's been up for a while now. This has been fun. It's at the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. So that's some of the sights and sounds from there. All these feeds coming in. That's the rule here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It has to be live, or we're going to show it to you as it happens. So what will happen next? Stay with us. Who knows in our final minute.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Hey, thanks for joining us here. We only have a couple minutes left here. You know the rules on the Live Desk. It's got to be live. And then I've got all these buttons in front of me, and I can take you anywhere in Wisconsin, around the nation, sometimes even around the world. So right now, I just want to once again go back to the beach because it is just beautiful out there. As we are looking live at Clearwater Beach, Florida, there's the pier. Are you a beach person or are you a pool person? I'm a pool person who likes to look at the beach. So I like a pool to be near the sand, but I'm not a big sand person. Unless maybe I had one of those giant cabanas like they have in Clearwater Beach. Hundreds of people out there enjoying this sunny day in Florida. Sunny as well here in Milwaukee as it is American Family Field. Dollar Dog Day, and the roof is open. Can't beat that on a Memorial Day. We've been watching this parade in Washington, D.C. as different groups are marching down Constitution Avenue. Pretty cool as we're just seeing all these different groups.
Sponsored by the Americans in Wartime Experience. The Stewart saw action in 1942 to 44 across the Pacific Theater.
Tens of thousands of tanks were produced during World War II, many by America's Rosie the Riveters, the millions of American women who went to the factories to build the planes, ships, and yes, tanks that won the war.
The American values of duty, honor, courage, patriotism, and sacrifice. That will serve as the foundation for a new museum being created by the Americans in Wartime Experience.
Pretty cool there. Okay, so we're going to take it from the nation's capital to Brookfield, Wisconsin. I'm going to leave you with the sights and sounds of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Concert Band out in Brookfield. Live Now's next here on your Fox Local app. Thanks for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Watching live now from Fox, everyone, as the parade continues out in D.C. We are going to take a